Hi everyone. I thought it was time I finally sit down and finish talking to you guys about Easy Peasy all-in-one homeschool that we did for our, I'm calling it tot school. My son was maybe 15 months old when we started it, and now he is almost 2, and we're kind of not doing a normal school rotation. We started at an odd time. It wasn't the beginning of the year, it was probably the middle of the year. Yeah, we started around January, and so into the summer we continued until just here recently. He kind of got sick for a little while and he just didn't have the energy, and so we've just been doing more play learning and snuggles and cuddles and that sort of thing. And so I think we're just going to go ahead and end this year and start back up in August to give us a little break, mainly me. But if you don't know what Easy Peasy All-in-One Homeschool is, it is a free online Christian-based homeschool from the ages of preschool, I guess, to 12th grade. And it has electives and all kinds of other things, and it's all just right there online. You don't have to buy anything. We printed out stuff for free. There is no gimmick. So with my toddler, we did the Getting Ready 1, which I think is actually just a half year. Honestly, before we were even done with it, my son knew all of his ABCs because it has amazing resources. They use starfall.com, and I downloaded the app on my phone, and my son would play with it all the time, and so he learned his alphabet really quickly. Another thing that I really loved about Easy Peasy's curriculum is the way that she structured it, and when she taught a letter, she went in alphabetical order, very simple. There was no pressure to learn how to read. It wasn't learn these letters in this order so that you can start reading. It was learn your alphabet, have fun with your alphabet. And she taught capital letter, lowercase letter, and the sound all together as one lesson. So when you go through a letter, it's not separated. You don't go through and learn your whole alphabet capital and then learn the lowercase and then learn the sound. So my son recognizes when something is lowercase. He recognizes when it's in a capital form, and he knows the sound. I mean, you can ask him, what does A say? Ah. And he knows that all through his alphabet. So with Starfall, we have been able to actually go beyond the curriculum. I think we're actually only at letter O, but he knows all of his letters and all of their sounds, and he recognizes them capital and lowercase. Guys, I know I keep saying that, but to me that is incredible, because I always thought you were supposed to teach the letters all wacky and out of order so that you can start spelling. And honestly, this curriculum has really been exactly what it says. Easy peasy. It's not pressuring your child, in my opinion. It's not pressuring your child to do anything more than learn and enjoy it. We had to alter it, obviously, because my son was only 1, and there are some craft projects and some stuff that's just some games online that were a little bit too advanced. So to supplement that, we downloaded ABC Mouse. They do have some amazing sales, so if you can catch them during a sale, you can get a whole year for a really low price, not anything crazy. I would never buy it at regular price, don't do that. But we did the ABC Mouse and Starfall, the free program, which I'm planning on going ahead and just purchasing. Starfall is $35 a year for access to the full website and app. So they have, I think it says, over 1,000 activities when you purchase the full program, and ABC Mouse has been great. It honestly, though, doesn't even live up to Starfall, which is so much cheaper. But so we did Starfall, we did ABC Mouse, and then I did a lot of printouts from Pinterest that I found. I kind of supplemented it. So in my first video that I posted, I showed you guys my checklist that I made for our improvised curriculum. Let me see if I can actually find a typical day. Day 68 on allinonehomeschool.com is listen to an ABC song, and there is a link. Learn about the letter K, and there is a link. Print out either page 8 or 9. Click on the image to download. Find the K's and color the picture. Practice drawing lines on page 47 of your workbook. Start at the top. Listen to a story about Keith the kangaroo. That is another thing. She has all of these little stories, these little audio clips where it is an animal. It goes along with the pictures and the printouts, and it's an animal, and it will say something that will teach the child the sound of the letter. There's all these different animals though, and they make the sounds of the letter in a cute little story, and they're also on YouTube, which is easier to access from my phone, and then we could kind of flip through maybe a learning video or something else on YouTube. These audio clips are only like 30 seconds, so they're really quick, but I noticed immediately that my son was catching on, so they are pretty important to the curriculum. But in my actual day 68, instead of listen to an ABC song, we did an ABC video, which I think they recently updated. I know in my first video I talked about how a lot of the videos are outdated on YouTube. Later I started clicking on some of the links and they were really great new fun videos. It didn't seem dated anymore, so maybe they went through and updated the website. But I kind of just got in the habit of, I knew what videos that he liked and what we liked to watch, so we would just kind of do our own thing there. So I went ahead and just put ABC video Starfall K, because typically where it says learn about letter, it's going to take you to Starfall. So I would just pull out my phone at some point during the day. That was another thing, is I didn't structure my day to be like, we get up at this time, we finish by this time. He's one. You know, at some point I knew we're going to do Starfall, letter K. Pull up the app, hand it to him. Maybe when we're out to dinner. Maybe, you know, when we're having a fussy moment. Maybe when it's right before bedtime and we need a calm down, sit down moment. We would just do it. So, and then I could just mentally tick that off, or I could actually, in some of them you can see I literally like made little marks of what we were doing when we were doing it. I don't know if you guys can see that. Day 68, I did Starfall K, ABC video, 1 + 1 + 1 = 1 printout, and then the audio K story. And I would have already had the printout in the binder ready to go. So when I opened up for that day, I would have a little post-it saying the same information. On the next day's work, I would have the next post-it note. That way I knew where it ended and I knew what we were doing for that day. But like I said, we didn't have a lot of structure, so we might have a moment and pull out a coloring sheet, color it, or do the audio story, or whatever we did. It just didn't go in order. We didn't structure the day. We still played, we still watched cartoons, we still lived a normal toddler mommy life, and just put these little things in 30 seconds at a time, or 2 minutes, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, whatever it was. Very short. We didn't condense our whole day and make a toddler try and sit and learn in all of that time. And 2, we called it school. He loved it. That was how I knew he was ready for it, because I dabbled in it. I don't even remember why I decided to start it. I just tried it out just to see. Something just made me want to see if he was interested in it. And when I got into it, I was like, oh wow, this is way too complicated for him. And then he started saying, school, mommy, school. And so I was like, well, I guess we're going to start homeschooling now. And it has been a major success, and it's been so much fun. So some of the things that I did was I purchased these very, very cheapy little protector pages from Walmart. I think it was a pack of like 10 or 20 from Walmart for $1 something. And we use the dry erase markers. So any papers that I didn't want him to write on, or if it was something that I knew he would want to do over and over and over again, and I didn't want to print out, 10 pages of the same sheet, I could put it in the protector page and we could use a dry erase marker with it. And so that was a really good investment. So what I was talking about with learning the letters, in her book that you can go online and you just click on the workbook and you print out sheets as you need them. Or I think you can actually order a printed one from her for low cost if you want, but it was easy. I had a really good printer. So we would just, you see, it has the capital letter, the lowercase letter, and then this actually references the audio story that they listen to. So just fun, basic, but you do get the capital, the lowercase, and then an animal as well. So we got to talk about animal sounds, and we learned this year what the lion says, what the monkey says. Now there were some that we didn't like. We didn't do, what is this, the nuthatch. I don't even know what this bird was. The nuthatch bird, do you know what this bird is? But anyways, we just and then nuthatch, it just kind of glazed over that. I love that in the A, she actually included the typeset A as well, because this is something that they're going to encounter in stories and on billboards and different things when they're trying to learn to read. You don't want them to be confused by what this is. So again, it just went over it so easily, all in one. That's what she calls it, all in one. But there's one for every single letter, and I won't show you guys all of them, but just to kind of give you an idea of what we did. Again, you have the typeset G. We would really just take some time and have fun with it. I would write stuff. I would hold his hand, have him write it, because he really didn't know how to color in the beginning. And most of these that you see a lot of color, that's me trying to show him how to color. He did a lot of the scribbles, and then I would make little shapes, and we would talk about the shapes, and we would talk about the colors that he was using. We would write our ABCs, and I would hold his hand and write them out, or I would just write them while he scribbled and just talked about them. So we did a lot of learning with a little bit of coloring, because some kids love to color and some of them don't, and I was fully prepared to have a child that didn't love to color. He actually loves to color now, but we're still just in that very early learning stage. She also has pages like these to print out. We went through with the dry erase marker and we worked on forming the letters and all of that. I really liked being able to do that, because then we could erase it and we could do it again and again, because these are nice and big. Because if you buy those workbooks where you have the letter over and over and over and over again, they're like this big, and for a toddler, that's just not gonna happen. So to be able to do it big, but you only get one shot with this on your paper. So with the dry erase, it was great to be able to erase it and try it over and over and over again, as much as he wanted to do. And no, he did not trace them. Like, he just kind of scribbled around them, but I would guide his hand, and we would talk about lines and down, up, and over, and learning words like that as we practiced, which, as you can see from this was a workbook that I had gotten on sale, and we worked on our lines and our dry erase just going over. So that's why I love these pages, because something like this, I think there's only one page in this book that talks about like the lines and line practice, and I don't want to reprint this. I don't want to make like 20 copies of it, but we like to do it every single day or every other day whenever we sat down and we had some extra time to be able to work on these lines, because that's the foundation of writing. We can't really go too much further in homeschool without it. I have some plans for this next coming up year in August, and once I get everything in, I will do a homeschool reveal, and or what do they call them, like homeschool hauls or whatever it is. I will go through my new curriculum and talk to you guys about what we will be doing. So I thought I would just show you guys, if you were even interested. If not, don't feel like you have to stay through this whole video, but I would show you guys some of the other work that we did. So on some of the days where there was a craft, we would do a do-a-dot picture or do-a-dot coloring sheet, and I went to Lakeshore Learning Center and I just bought the basic 4-pack of red, yellow, green, blue do-a-dot markers. I would just print out certain sheets, which I will show you throughout this video, for him to learn, and it's really great for fine motor skills of him. He's actually gotten to the point where he's learned where to put the dot and to press down, and if he sees some white, a lot of times he'll go back over it to make sure that he gets the entire dot. So some great skills in that. We tried a craft project at the end of the year that was actually one of their suggested craft projects, but basically I did this. It's supposed to be the letter L, and he lost interest before we even finished going across. So way more success with the do-a-dot letter L free printout that I found on Pinterest. And it's so funny too, the recognition that goes on. Like, he put dots on the antenna because he realized they were circles and that the dots go in circles. Some of the 1+1+1 printouts are scriptures, and we would go through and circle the letter, and then also we've been working on the word at, since we learned all of our alphabet, which he has not grasped it yet, but whenever I would see the words, the letters A, T together, we would circle them and talk about the word at. We have these coloring sheets that I also found. See, this is themeasuredmom.com. She has a lot of really great free printables. I think you have to sign up with her, but it's free and you can go through her whole library of free printables, and there's some really great stuff on there, really fun. The other one, The Measured Mom as well. So obviously I like her stuff. And the first one, easypeasylearners.com, not Easy Peasy All-in-One Homeschool. This is Easy Peasy Learners. This is another one from her that we used our do-a-dot letters on. So some of the days you will talk about a specific animal more in detail and learn about the animal as you go over your letter. So these pages are also in the same week as the other pages that I just showed you. So you're talking about animals and you're talking about letters, and you're doing it in different formats, which is really cool to reinforce that and for them to get some extra information. I mean, we talk about Australia here. He's only one, so he didn't grasp any of this. And he really wasn't interested in the pictures either. The pictures are real pictures, so they're really getting to look at these animals. They're really getting to learn about it. So if your child is older, Easy Peasy really has some awesome stuff that you can really dig in deeper with. She gives you surface work, but I mean, if you really wanted to talk more about Australia and koalas and eucalyptus and plants that are poisonous, you know, I mean, there's so many things with these types of worksheets that she has for free on her website, even if you don't use a curriculum. I mean, these sheets alone are amazing to go through. But we used our do-a-dot marker to do the letter K, and this was guided by me. He's not, I don't want to fool you guys to think that he is like some mega genius that just went through and was like, oh, K, 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 K. All right, I'm done, let's go to college. This is me guiding his hand, pointing at them, talking about them, we're talking about the sounds, and I'm reading this little paper off, and he's not paying attention to that at all. He's just going dot, 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 because that's the fun part for him. She talks about different shapes, and she has some shape pictures, but a lot of them, we did the do-a-dot shapes instead because these were a lot of fun for him, obviously. And the website didn't print out, but I should have another one on here where I can tell you the website that I got these from. We did a lot of do-a-dot because he really had fun. Oh, that's another thing with this. We did do-a-dot on this because I was originally trying to go through and do a dot on everything that had the K sound. He was not ready for that activity, and I ended up letting him play with a marker and color that as well. So that was another fun thing that kept him entertained, was letting him color with different things, with markers, with do-a-dot pens, with crayons, with pens, with pencils, different things to just make writing fun. Letter K. Here's another K activity. Here is another one from 1 + 1 + 1 = 1. This was the week of K, as you can see, and all of my coloring, as you can see me trying to show him. We went over our colors as we were doing this, and then we went over our @words, and I always try to help him write his name. And we recently switched over to lowercase. Apparently my lowercase a looks like a Q because he says Q every time, but he does recognize his lowercase a and everything else. I found these sheets. I think I put these in the binder protectors and we did them a couple of times. These just weren't fun enough for him. They were a little bit too simple. This also came from the Measured Mom. It was a little bit too complex for him and a little bit too much. Not enough fun picture, move around, be silly. But you could do other things with these, like put manipulatives over them or something like that. We do have the smaller ones down here. We did a lot of tracing with our finger. He just was not super interested in these, so we didn't do these a whole lot. Now, 1 + 1 + 1 = 1.com also has sheets like these, which I really like. It has different tracing angles for them to learn, you know, start here, go down, before they actually try and do the letter. So I really like those, especially at the binder protectors, to be able to go through and practice writing those lines because we were not ready to actually do the letters yet. So more 1 + 1 + 1. I found this sheet and I got so excited. I was like, oh, I'm going to start doing these all the time, and then I couldn't find more that I really liked. But coloringforkids.com, we did J is for Jeep, which his daddy has a Jeep, so he really had fun with that. And if you're noticing color themes, that's because she normally has a color that they will go over, and so we would try and stick with it, or we would go off the color from 1 + 1 + 1, or a color that I just noticed that he was struggling with. So again, stories, I would read them, we would work with them, and then he would just kind of scribble and color and have his fun. Let's see, I feel like I'm showing you guys the same kind of stuff. We have learning about animals. We did a horse from easypeasylearners.com. This is one of her shape pages, which we had fun tracing those, and then I wrote them out so that he could see what the words look like. Here's a different one we did for the letter I, and this is from mpmideas.com. And this is just identifying upper and lowercase, and of course I had to help him a lot with this, but he had fun using the different markers and doing his dot where I told him to and guiding his hand. But older kids could definitely really go with that. And you can use pom-poms on those as well. I mean, you guys know, you've probably seen a million mommy videos where they do different stuffs. Here's a different one that we did, and this looks like it's 123kidsfun.com. It's cut off, so you can't really tell. but it was an ABC coloring page, and we just colored the letters of his name. Here's a letter H, like I was telling you about from 1 + 1 + 1, where you just trace, this is the letter H, the way that the letters go. This one does not have a website of where I found this. This was probably me just Googling coloring sheets, but this letter H sheet that has the helicopter, the hen, the hat, the house, the horse, kind of fun, and then we used colors and markers with that. Guys, I really love these little do-a-dot animal pages that I found on Easy Peasy Learners. I mean, these are just so cute. So many cute animals, and they had other stuff that you could do too, not just the animals. I think that's where I got all the shape ones, and you had different types of animals. I think they had like farm animals, and then 1 + 1 + 1 has different style printouts. So if you go to Easy Peasy, they send you the link and you click on the little packet, and you can actually go through and print out the scripture the way you want it and the letter tracers the way you want it. So it gave us some variety to our weeks as well, not just doing the same style coloring sheet all the time. Another really cute one from the Measured Mom. Some of the ones from Easy Peasy, just really basic, but making sure that they're really focusing on the letter. Nothing fluffy about it. And then this is one of her circle pictures before we started going through all of the Pinterest stuff. So that's basically it. We spent a day where we just colored on some construction paper and talked about our shapes and did some do-a-dot and used crayons and worked on our name and that sort of thing. Oh, I don't remember how I got this. I was really excited about this. Maybe she has a little book on the website or something, but for A, I was actually able to find, these are what the audio stories are. So this says, April might look like a cool gal, but she's really a scaredy cat, which is funny because she's an alligator. She's scared of almost all the other animals. It's a shame, really. Just about every day she'll see something that makes her yell, ah! And so that's how they learn the sound of the letter A, is because April the alligator says, ah! The only thing I can say with this is it did confuse my son that he thinks that alligators are called A. So when he sees an alligator, he's like, A! And I'm like, oh, that's right, A is for alligator. And then I just recently learned, no, he thinks that this is also a symbol for A. But that was the only thing. We didn't have that problem with like bears or anything else for some reason. We also have some alligator manipulative toys, so it could have just been constantly going over a alligator, just kind of mixed it up in his head. Yeah, we did that. We did learning games, and we just took it really easy and had fun and went through it. And like I said, we only made it to O, and he already learned the entire alphabet. He knows his shapes: circle, square, heart, diamond, rectangle, oval. I think that's it. And he knows his colors: red, blue, green, purple, pink. Oh, thanks to ABC Mouse, he knows beige. And then his crayons, he knows peach. So some pretty complicated ones for a 1-year-old, at least I think so. But yeah, that was pretty much what we did this year, and next year I'm really turning things on their head. We're not going to be using Easy Peasy only because it goes into reading after this, and his mental level, he is not ready to start reading. We've kind of played around with it. That is another thing I can show you guys. I got these binders, like 8 of them from Costco for like 10 bucks or 8 bucks. Maybe it was 6 for 8 bucks. I don't know. Anyways, they had this really great deal on binders, so I bought them up. So I made this little binder from progressivephonics.com, and we started going over our app family. The one thing I really loved about using a binder, we can use dry erase markers on this as well, which was really awesome. So I would like draw lines. I would let him underline. We would talk about at, and then, you know, circle the letter in front of it. So we really had some fun with that. But this is a full phonics website, and it's all free. Free printouts. We printed out the little stories. Printed out one of the little stories. There's a ton of little stories, but I wanted to get through this one. So as we would read this little story, I would underline the words as I would read, and then we would circle the letters in red, and we would talk about what that word was, and then we would talk about how these words matched up with the picture. So would you look at that? Oh, look, is there a cat up here? And then, you know, the next part of the story, we would say, that's not a hat, that's my cat. And we'd circle it, and we'd talk about, you know, is this a hat? It's a cat, and, you know, different things like that. So we'd go through the whole story like that. And then I had a workbook, I guess it was supposed to be a workbook, but we just used it as a page. It was a little printout, my @words, and I would also take manipulatives. I have letter manipulatives that are really small, and I would give him the letters and help him put them in the box. But then we would also use the dry erase markers with this, and we would I would write in the letters, or I'd guide his hand, and then I'd let him color the picture. So we were just kind of going over it after we read the story. And I don't know that this actually says what website it came from. I know I just found this on Pinterest. And you're supposed to cut it out and make it into a book, but it worked better for us like this. So that is what we did, along with reading some different stories and just playtime with a toddler, with a little bit of learning that was laid out and structured for me to make it a little bit easier. So that is what we did this year. I think I went over pretty much everything aside from the books, because I get a lot of our books discounted, and I don't know if you can just find them anywhere. I do plan on doing a couple videos on some specific books, especially one. I have a cousin that wrote and illustrated a children's book, and we use it all the time. My son loves it. There are some interesting aspects of it. So when I have some time, I want to sit down and really talk to you guys about this book in case you're interested in it, because he is self-published, so it's not huge, it's not everywhere, so I would love to be able to get the word out and to share this amazing book with you guys. But other than that, a lot of the books are probably dated, or, you know, they're just kind of books that I don't know if you could find. So like I said, we just buy a lot of them super cheap and used, and maybe they're part of a set or something, and I just have one little book that we work with. So probably won't talk a lot about the books, but other than that, the learning toys, I plan on doing some videos talking about more of those. I love Lakeshore Learning, so be prepared. If you want to watch any of the toy videos, there are probably going to be a lot of Lakeshore Learning toys. Anyways, thanks for watching. If you are interested in any of the future videos, make sure that you hit subscribe, like this video if you enjoyed it, or if you even stayed to the end, and feel free to share this video if you know any homeschool mamas. Thank you, and have a great day.